Hello.
Hello.
Salam and good evening to you, worthy friend. Please, come closer. Too close, a little too close.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Disneybrit radio show. Thank you for joining us, as always. I've got the naughty school kids in this evening. They've all been very silly. We're a little bit late this evening due to some technical difficulties on my end. I don't know what's been going on, but we've finally sorted it, which means we're live on YouTube, and we've got all the other bits and pieces working as well. And apparently RuPaul's Drag Race has sponsored this evening's show. So... there you go, Susan's gone already. I think while I was trying to fix the problem and it wasn't working, I came back and finally got it working. I think Gareth's response was, it's like the teacher had left the classroom. So goodness knows what's going on this evening, but we've got the whole team together. So good evening, Gareth.
Good evening, Adam.
He's like the supply teacher who was left to try and deal with the unruly children.
I did get some useful notes though, so I'm going to go get some duct tape later.
That's some duct tape, fine, okay.
You learned a lot.
I know.
I learned a lot. I was educated.
Ladies and gentlemen, you think it's bad? Yeah, it's as bad as you think it is. Good evening, Katie.
Hello.
How you doing?
Have you had a nice sunny day today?
I've had a lovely sunny day in Britain, where we've had 25, 26 degrees. Good evening, Susan.
Hello.
How are you?
Well, before we went live, that was the quietest we've ever been.
Yes, it genuinely was. Have you had a nice sunny day?
I've had a beautiful sunny day, thank you.
And good evening, John.
Miss Vanjie.
He has joined us live from Spain. He's out in the Spanish
I am
continent.
live from Viva
But not on a
España.
And have you had a really nice, warm,
listen.
sunny day?
There's no wind.
No, there's no...
Guys, it was 2 years ago.
It doesn't matter. It's still going.
Hang on.
No.
Oh, man.
2 years ago.
John, have you had a nice, warm, sunny day? No. No, and you're in Spain.
No, get stuffed.
Get stuff.
It's so cloudy here. I'm so upset. Come to Spain for a week, and you guys have got better weather back there.
Have you got
That's
a
not
patio?
fair. Have I what?
Got a patio, like doors or a window to your room?
I do, yes.
You should just open them a second, just so we can hear what it's like outside.
Oh, hang on a sec then.
Just open them up and see what we get on the outside. There, it's just gonna.
Right, I'm out.
He's going
on my
outside.
balcony.
Are you definitely out on the balcony?
Definitely out the balcony.
Yeah. Come back in, John. Come back in. No, he's back in. There you
You know
go,
what I
Kate.
can see from my balcony, though? I can see about 7 different roller coasters.
There you go. You're at Portaventura, aren't you?
Yes.
Turns out, Katie, the weather's no better now, 2 years on. At what point is she going to hang up and leave? Or has she already done that? I'm not quite sure.
That was just my dedication and trying to still be involved, even though the only quiet place I had to record was on a rooftop.
Yes,
That is
indeed.
dedication.
It is dedication. Anyway, so how's everybody's fan
And it
days
was
preparation?
2 years ago.
How's everybody's fan days preparation going?
I'm a bit
Well,
behind.
maybe Gareth
I'm
can
very
take this one.
excited.
You terrible people.
What's wrong, Gareth?
Well, I'm heartbroken. So for my
Cue
outfit,
sad music.
You want some sad music? I'm
yeah,
not
I
going
want
that
some
far.
proper sad music.
I haven't got any sad
probably
music. I can do this.
rocking.
That help? Go on. Get what's wrong, Gareth?
I'm probably going to be rocking the world's one and only t-shirt blazer. So I bought a blazer from China, obviously, where all good clothing comes from.
Is it supposed to be like a short sleeve blazer?
No. It's supposed to be full length. Full length. It's a triple XL,
Right.
which apparently in the UK is an XL, which is the biggest size than what I need. And the sleeves are literally halfway up my arms. it looks bad.
Like...
But there's a reassuring tag inside from the people that make it. Classic men's fashion, the choice of a new generation, the relentless pursuit of perfection lets you feel a new real N. So there's just loads of words. They don't mean anything because this is a piece of garbage.
It sounds like it's just really badly translated.
Maybe it's actually a super fashionable cut and you just didn't realise that was the way the kids were wearing it these days.
Well, maybe on the streets of China, I'm not down with that particular part of the world and their fashion trends. Over here, it just makes you look like a Wally.
Well, British response.
Looking like Wally, although you're meant
I'm trying to keep things PG.
Is this music particularly? Is this music sad enough for you?
Nah, it's not.
No, you need to play that song. Do you remember that song that used to be on the radio in the morning when he used to read the really sad stories?
Yeah, what is that? Is that like? Is it from Romeo and Juliet?
I've no idea. What was that song called? That's a good song.
I've no idea.
I have no idea.
I
have no clue what you're talking about.
I know what it's called, but I couldn't tell you what the piece of music is.
I'm sure it was Steve Wright, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called.
Anyway, yeah, my prep's going terribly.
So your prep's going terribly. Anybody else's?
Our tune. It was.
He's got it.
Oh,
Go on.
I've got it. It was Nino Rota's love theme from Romeo and Juliet.
No, see, I was right.
Yeah, you were right. I'm going to see if I can find it now.
I thought I was
It
right.
still wouldn't convey the sadness.
Are you sure? Does this not convey the sadness?
Nah. No, I'm touching the sides.
Oh, Gareth.
Oh, that's unfortunate. This one is the one you're
Oh,
about.
that's it. That's it.
Do you know what makes it worse?
What?
Is I'm almost certain, right, that this is not flame retardant either. So just to cap things off, I'm blatantly going to get too close to a smoker in Paris, and I'm going to go up in flames.
Good news, if it's a cold
Maybe
night.
don't wear it to Disney.
Yeah, you're going to have to stand
You
way
might
in
wanna
the
find
back
something
during
else.
Max 5.
Anyway, the good news is...
We already
Stay
know
away
it's gonna
from the
be
Missing
pyro.
Dragon.
The good news, I suppose, is that if it does get cold, we can always light you up to keep us all warm. So it's very true. There you go.
That bitch.
Anyway, so I suppose we should talk about what we're supposed to talk about this evening, because we had we just got nothing to do with anything we've talked about whatsoever, and we've already been talking for like 10 minutes. So we had a message from somebody who is off to Walt Disney World for honeymoon and was asking for some tips from us with regards to honeymoon and the things you should do and the best ways to do it and those sort of things. So we did talk about doing it a little while ago, but we thought we'd wait until we got everybody back so we can talk about this, because some of us have experienced honeymoons at Disney World. So Katie, you haven't you?
Yes, I
have. Gareth, you haven't, have you?
No, I think I explained to you guys that Claire made the error of getting married to me when I was poor. So, no Disney honeymoon for her.
Susan,
so yeah, this would be like a what you could have won sort of scenario.
This is Bully and Bullseye and all that sort of stuff here. Is what you could have won. Susan's not married yet, and John's not married yet.
Never going to happen.
So, did you? Was your proposal at Disney World as well, Katie?
No, it wasn't.
Right, okay. Well, I can say I've been involved.
It was on the River Tyne.
It's the good and bad thing. I can say I've been involved in both a proposal at Disney World and a honeymoon at Disney World, just not sadly to the same person. But we'll gloss over that. So let's.
Yeah. Anyway,
moving on. Oh, we're all tired and we're showing off. That's what's going on. So what we thought we'd talk about to start off with is kind of when you go to Disney World, what you can do in Disney World that might be really good for your honeymoon. But we'll just recap over proposal stuff. We have talked about this previously, but just be worth mentioning again. Susan, you were proposed to at Disneyland Paris, is that right? And do you want to give us a brief description or overview of how that happened?
Yeah, it was about actually nearly a year ago, just over a year ago now. I can't say too much because obviously I was
over a year ago.
surprised.
Don't
I
bang on,
supposed
for
to
goodness
know.
sake. Katie's still banging on about the win from 2 years ago. Don't you start.
It's not me who's still banging on about it.
Well, Katie, if I've got to deal with Fanta, you can deal with the wind.
Anyway, yes, your proposal.
Yeah, so it was nearly over a year ago, and I can't really say too much because obviously he was the one that was kind of like Liam was the one that was doing it all. So you know, where yourself, you had all the planning, you kind of can give everyone hints and tips of what to do and how to plan. But it was just your standard sort of simple, like wait until the park was nearly closed, and then just after the fireworks, and then got down on one knee.
Oh, I don't know whether does Liam listen to the show?
Yes.
He does.
Hope
Lovely.
So.
Great. So he listens to the show and he's just heard you describe his proposal as standard and simple. I mean...
Well, compared to you, because you had like photo pass.
That's not a criticism.
No.
Standard and simple is a good thing. That's not a criticism.
Yeah, my proposal.
That's why you're here. Thank you.
Yeah, my proposal. Yeah, it did involve Disney a little bit more, but just to very quickly go over it. So yeah, it was Christmas Day. It was in the parks. Christmas Day sort of afternoon, and I did have a photo pass photographer there. Really simple to organise. If you are thinking about proposing in Disney World, do get in touch, or well, even Disneyland Paris. I think I don't know whether it's quite the same way of communicating.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit hard because there's no photo pass people as you go along the castle.
In Disney World, I contacted the customer experience department and basically said my plan was to propose on Christmas Day, and I'd really like to get some photos of it if I could, etc., etc. And they were fantastic. We had breakfast reservations at Chef Mickey's. She turned around and told me that my breakfast reservation was too late to be guaranteeing getting into the park, so she moved it for me to make sure we got an early reservation, even though the reservations didn't exist. And then I had to email across our pictures and give them a time when I was likely to do the proposal and the location where, and they would have a fast pass photographer there who would take the photos for us. It didn't cost me a single penny to get that done. You know, for a lot of companies, particularly in this country, if you turn around to them and say, I want to propose in the park and I'd like to have some photos and this sort of stuff, they'd suddenly turn around and throw a 3 or 4 figure sum at you and tell you this is what's going to happen. Disney didn't ask for a single thing. They just basically said, yeah, we will have a fast pass photographer there on that particular time. We've moved the date of your reservation so you can go for breakfast and then get into the park, no problems whatsoever. And we've got it all sorted for you. So honestly, do contact Disney. Yes, there will be things that they will do which will cost you money if you want something really, really specific or an area closed off or something private like that. If you want something very simple like that you can get the photos and commemorate those sort of things, then honestly, do not hesitate to do it because you can get in contact with them and they'll help you out with that. Disney is so good at that sort of stuff, being able to get in contact with and sort stuff out for you with that. You have to spend an arm and a leg in order to do it, so it's well worth doing. Has anybody got in contact with Disney with regards to a celebration or anything like that before and had any experience of that, just out of interest?
I haven't.
You haven't?
I did Disneyland Paris.
Yeah.
I went with some friends and their birthdays are 1 week apart, so we decided to go in between their 2 birthdays, and I contacted Disneyland and I said to them, we're coming as a celebration.
Yeah.
And when we got to our hotel, which was the Cheyenne,
yes.
There was balloons and all the autographs from the characters, and they each had a pin waiting for them.
Oh, awesome.
And they didn't charge us anything for that, which I thought was quite cool.
That's really good. Okay. So
that's really good.
All I did was just email them, just saying, look, just so you know, it's their birthday. I wasn't really expecting anything, but yeah, they did that, and I thought it was really sweet.
Amazing. I think it's always worth saying when you're booking, if it is for a special occasion, it is always worth booking, because then at the very least, it'll be on your reservation when you arrive, and they'll at least say like happy birthday or happy honeymoon or whatever.
Yes.
I know when we went on honeymoon to Disney World, we had told them that it was a honeymoon, and they knew that when we were checking in, and it was really nice. So definitely say it when you're booking.
Let's move on to that then. So these are tips, I think, for people when it comes to honeymoon and just going and the things that you should really do. I think, I agree with Katie that when you go, you need to make sure everybody knows that it's your honeymoon.
Absolutely.
And there's sort of different ways of doing that. One way of doing it is by just when you make a reservation, letting them know with those reservations that you are going to be there and you're going to somebody's special honeymoon, birthday, whatever like this, but just let them know, because if you let them know, they will do everything they can. So that's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it, which is another way that I've done it as well, is we actually, on honeymoon, had T-shirts made, which sounds really sad. But we had T-shirts made, which we wore, depending on... Well, we hadn't thought this through entirely, because on the T-shirts on the back, they were supposed to say just and married. So one said just and the other one said married. Except for if we were stood the wrong way around, it said married just. So you had to make sure you stood the right way around. The other thing to think about, we put the date of the wedding on as well, which is fine because it was the 12th of March. But American-wise, they looked at that and went, it's the 3rd of December. Why are you celebrating getting married when you aren't married yet? So it's just something to consider, that you will get questions from people saying, why are you doing this or this or this or whatever. So it is worth thinking about that. I mean,
I think on that point what you said there about getting T-shirts made, I think it's fine to get T-shirts made, but just don't go down that tacky I'm his, she's mine route. Get something that's so original.
And they were basically, we wore them for one day, or a couple of days during the holidays. The one we wore, and I know I've told this story a million times, so I won't bang on about it, but we wore those T-shirts walking down Main Street on the way to Crystal Palace first thing that morning, and we were pulled over by a cast member, and that cast member turned around and said, congratulations, really nice of you to be here. Would you like to be Grand Marshals for the parade? And we were Grand Marshals for the parade that day because we had the T-shirts on. The other thing, of course, to do is to just, on every occasion you can, wear the buttons so that they see those, when you go through the parks, you're going for something to eat, mention the fact that it's your honeymoon and all those sort of things.
Get the ears.
Get the ears.
Yeah, definitely, the ears and the buttons.
Because Disney will make a massive thing about the fact that you are, you are there on honeymoon and all those sort of things. So do make sure you do that.
But the thing is they don't even just make a fuss about that. When we went to Disney World, it was my friend's first visit to Disney World.
Yeah.
And they made such a fuss over her.
Yeah.
And it was just her first visit, so you can only begin to imagine the kind of fuss you would get if you had honeymoon and you had the ears.
Exactly.
I can just begin to imagine.
So it's well worth thinking about those sort of things because obviously it does make it that a little bit extra special. And you do get all sorts of different things.
My only word of warning on that is don't go expecting anything.
No.
So I think it's a really, really good idea to wear the buttons and wear the ears and make sure that you tell them when you're making reservations, but don't go in expecting that you're going to get piled with all this free stuff, because that way when it does happen, and it probably will, it's a really nice surprise and it means so much and you really feel like you're being spoiled. If you just kind of go in with no expectations, then all the lovely things that happen are even more lovely.
Exactly right. We had some great stuff. We were put near the front at Hoop-de-Doo. We were given certificates about our memories. We were given the Grand Marshal. There was, they'd put congratulations in chocolate on plates for dessert and all that sort of stuff. You'd walk past, and I think we got given bottles of Coke, and they said, Mickey says congratulations. Here you go. And gave those, and it's little things like that just make it quite special. And just people noticing the fact that you're there and you're celebrating something, which is really, really good, which I think.
And even just the little things, like lots of people, cast members and guests alike actually, but cast members will just say congratulations to you as you're walking past. It's not necessarily always that you get something for free. It's just that you're walking by and they're like, oh, congratulations. And you're like, oh, thanks. And it really does add to your day.
The only thing I can think of
when you get those little words of encouragement
is similar is kind of after you've done the kind of half marathon and those sort of things, you got the medal around your neck and you're walking around, everyone's going, oh, congratulations, well done, congratulations. It's that sort of idea, but obviously you're doing it for a different reason, and it does make a difference and make it quite a special trip by doing that. So it's really, really good. So honeymoon wise, do you want to kind of talk through, Katie, where you stayed, etc., and those sort of things?
Yeah, so on our honeymoon, we stayed at Port Orleans Riverside. Okay. And we had the dining plan, but we upgraded the quick service dining plan to the full dining plan so that we could have some table service meals, which I think that was a really good way to do it. And at that time, it was cheaper for us to do it that way than it was to stay in a deluxe and get that plan for free. And Port Orleans Riverside is a beautiful hotel. It's really lovely. We stayed in one of the mansions. It's really well situated for what is now Disney Springs. It was downtown Disney at the time. So yeah, we really loved that hotel. So I would recommend it as maybe a little bit more of a budget option than somewhere like the Beach Club or Grand Floridian.
Yeah, because they're quite. One of the things you have to take into consideration is to kind of compare the cost of the hotel to the amount of time you're actually going to spend in that hotel. So if you're going and you're literally going to the parks and you're going to spend all day in the parks every day, you need to think about whether or not it's worth spending out the extra element for a really, really expensive hotel, or whether it's not. We stayed in Port Orleans French Quarter, which was absolutely gorgeous. It's still, I think, today one of my favourite resorts to stay in.
It is beautiful. I've stayed there as well on a subsequent trip, and it is gorgeous.
Lovely to have the river down there, to be able to get the riverboat down to Disney Springs. It wasn't too far from most of the parks as well, so it's really, really nice to be able to sort of walk through and go to. So that was, so it was kind of moderate. So we didn't go absolutely all out and spend an absolute fortune by staying in something really expensive. But it was just really nice to make something a little bit different, which was good. So the other part of the question was this suggestion about things that they could do for their honeymoon trip that would make things a little bit different. So fire away, guys. Who's got some suggestions we can send across?
So I think for me, I think one of the best things you can do is, I mean, I don't know if did they mention whether they've already got the hotel booked?
No, they've not really mentioned anything other than they're going on honeymoon.
Okay, because if you haven't got your hotel booked, then I think it is your honeymoon. Just splash out a little bit extra on the hotel.
Okay.
If you were planning on staying moderate, maybe splash out a little bit to go Animal Kingdom Lodge, because it's the cheapest of the deluxe, but it's so lovely when you're there.
Yeah.
Or if you're staying in the Animal Kingdom Lodge already, splash out a little bit extra to have the safari view.
Yeah.
I think, just splurge a little because it is your honeymoon, and I think you need to make it as special as possible, because without getting too far into it, it's your honeymoon. You're going to want to spend a bit of time in the room. You might as well make sure it's a nice room.
That at Disney World.
Yes, Disney World.
I want to be in the theme parks when I'm at Disney World.
Yes, but you're going to want to be in the room sometimes.
I do, it's a difficult one because obviously we are Disney mad, and in fact, I think when I went for my honeymoon, I didn't go as flat out as I would do for any other holiday. It was about taking it easy a little bit and it not being so full on, because also it's about planning other little things that you wouldn't normally do just to make it a little bit special. But
yeah,
I
I
agree with
agree.
John.
We did go pretty flat out, but we did make sure that we arranged like a few kind of special things because it was our honeymoon. So one of my favourite things that we did was the dessert party in the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
So that was something. It's changed slightly the way that they do it since we did it. But it was something that it wasn't cheap, but it wasn't overly expensive. It wasn't as much as like one of the special tours or something, which is another thing that you could potentially do. But the dessert party was great because we just had dessert for dinner.
Yeah.
We didn't have anything to eat before we got there, so that we could make the absolute most of it. We had absolutely prime spot. They'd reserved a table for us and put balloons on it and things because again we'd said that it was our honeymoon. When we booked it, and they put us in the table like right at the front. So we had a completely unobstructed view of the castle, and the desserts were absolutely amazing. And we just sat there and watched, obviously, Wishes as it was, and it was just a completely perfect evening. It was absolutely amazing, and not a huge amount of money, but really, really special. So I would recommend doing something like that.
That's cool. The other thing is to taking things like the California Grill at the top of the Contemporary.
Yeah,
really nice
we
place
did that as well. Definitely
that.
time that for fireworks.
The fireworks, yeah.
So that you can watch the fireworks from the roof.
Yeah, it's well worth doing.
We also watched the fireworks from the beach at the Polynesian as well, which was really nice because that was so chilled. And we could just sit there with a drink. Well. Yeah, it's a bit more. I think watching it from the roof of the California Grill is absolutely amazing, and the food's lovely in that restaurant.
It's such a totally
but watching it
different
from the
experience
beach is a bit more romantic.
Yes, you could do that as well and go down to the beach and watch it from there, which would be a really, really good thing to do. Anybody else? Any other suggestions of something you might consider for something a little bit different?
I've got one that I thought was quite nice.
So staying at the Riverside, you can actually get a horse-drawn carriage ride. It's 25 minutes long.
Oh, you stole it off me. Yes.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine.
It's $55, and so that'll take you around the grounds. And I think they're probably some of the better-looking grounds, especially for a moderate.
Yes.
So I think that's quite nice. They also do it at Fort Wilderness as well, but I don't think the grounds are quite as aesthetically pleasing, should we say?
Right. Yes, fair enough.
And the carriages, if you live sort of an alternative lifestyle, the carriages actually fit up to 4 adults.
You mean if you brought your children?
If
Not in Disney World, Gareth.
I'm not here to judge. You be you, I'll be me.
Sorry, please continue.
I have 2 evening entertainment ideas
Yep.
that I think we did both of these things, and they're both at Fort Wilderness. The first one is Chippendale's outside campfire.
Yes.
Which is a really nice like date night kind of idea. So you go along to Fort Wilderness and there's a little kind of sing-along show which is designed for kids, but it's quite fun with this like cowboy guy with a guitar.
Yeah.
And then Chippendale come out, and so you can get photos and stuff with Chippendale. They've got a campfire going and they sell kits to make s'mores with. And then they've got an absolutely enormous cinema screen. And there's like bleachers that you can sit on, and you can watch a Disney film out in the middle of the woods, and it's really nice, and it's a lovely atmosphere because everyone's kind of toasting marshmallows over a fire, and they've just met Chippendale. And when we were on honeymoon, it was Bambi that they were showing, which was kind of the perfect setting for it because it's right in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
But
As long as they
there's
don't
a
shoot
program
real deer.
of films, so you can check what films are on which nights.
Yeah.
And it's just a really nice place. So that's a little bit different, and that's free. You can just turn up to that.
That's pretty cool.
And the second one at Fort Wilderness as well is the Hoop-de-Doo musical review, which you just mentioned before.
Yeah.
I think if you book that and let them know that it's your honeymoon, they probably will make quite a fuss of you. And know that they did for us. They gave us a brilliant table. Alan got called up to be part of the show. They gave him one of the parts in the show. There's a few kind of audience participation moments, and they got us up and they gave us some nice little like certificates and things like that. And we had such a good time. It's such a funny show, and it was just so much fun. And they really did make a fuss of us there for it being our honeymoon.
My other suggestion would be something along the lines of. I'm going back to dining. Well, sticking with dining. Go to a restaurant where you can do something that's a little bit different. So it's an upscale restaurant, but do something that you wouldn't normally do. So I think something like Gico, you have the option of actually sitting at the chef's table. And having done it, it was an amazing experience. And actually we were sat eating, and the chef was aware that you were there for a special reason. And they are actually giving you tasters from the menu as you were sat there trying different things. And it was just a different, nice way of enjoying a meal at Disney World. Which was really, really good. But that's something else that's worth thinking about as well.
Yeah, I do like the way that you guys said about the T-shirts and the sort of the Mickey ears sort of going back, because like as you say, like Katie, you just mentioned that we let them know it was our honeymoon, but some people might get a bit nervous to actually say that and go, oh, by the way, it's our honeymoon. Like, but the shirts and the ears kind of give it away without you being sounding too obnoxious.
Yeah.
But you can say it when you kind of phone up to make your reservation, or when you make it online, you can just add a note to the reservation, so you're not actually telling the person when you arrive, like, oh, by the way, it's my honeymoon.
Yeah.
You can just do it when you make your reservation, and they'll just make a little note on it.
Kind of almost like in general conversation.
Yeah, just like, oh, we're celebrating our honeymoon or birthday or whatever.
Sometimes they will ask you. Sometimes they do ask you if you're celebrating.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because I can imagine some people get quite nervous, or how do I approach, or I'm quite nervous to tell them that we're on our honeymoon without sounding a bit, oh, by the way.
I think my advice on that would be don't be, because everybody is telling them that they're celebrating something. Everybody's going to be celebrating a birthday or an anniversary or a honeymoon or a first visit or something. So I think don't be nervous to tell them, and don't be nervous to wear the badges and that kind of thing. It's totally expected, and it lets them know.
Yeah. One other thing is to think about using those things you've already got included in your package as well. So if you've booked through Disney, the chances are you're going to have like a photo pass already included in your package. Make real use of those photo pass photographers. You know, you can have your own little photo shoot almost while you're on your holiday. You know, get as many photos as you can in front of the castle with the characters, doing all those different things that you do, because you've got them. You know, you've already paid for them. Use them. You can do. You know, you can then take them home with you. You can download them free. And then if you want to, turn them into a little coffee table booklet or something like that you'll be able to keep as a memory of your honeymoon as well, without having to spend a small fortune on a proper sort of photo shoot or something like that.
Yeah. And make sure you ask them if they've got any magic shots as well, because those are the shots that you couldn't get yourself. And they won't necessarily tell you what the magic shots are. They'll just pose you in a certain position, and you don't find out what the actual surprise is until you get the photos back. So some of those can be quite fun.
I had a good one of that in Epcot. Women went, I said, have you got any magic shots? And the woman went, how much of a sense of humour have you got? And I said, my sense of humour is good. And she went, okay, so I'm going to do one of my favourite ones. She said, turn around, and then just look back at the camera. So I was like, okay. So I turned around, looked back at the camera, had my back to her. And when I looked at it, she'd actually put some fairy wings on me.
Brilliant.
That was brilliant.
And I was like a little fairy.
That's nice.
I think that's good.
When life imitates art, or art imitates life, either way around.
Absolutely.
The other thing to do, and to suggest looking at as well, is Disney do have an official honeymoon website, which you can go onto, and it can show you all of the things that Disney also offer you. It's disneyweddings.com/honeymoons. And if you go on there, you can go and look at the theme park section, and there are little things in there. You can. I don't know whether we in this country are able to sign up for the honeymoon registry or not.
I think you can, because I've known a few brides that have come to me and they're getting married in Walt Disney World and having their honeymoon there. So, because the brochure can get sent to you as well.
Ah, okay. So, for example, just if I'm just looking at it now, and it does look like it is available. But what you can do as well is to just add something a little bit different. Is you can add a honeymoon registry where you can add entertainment and all those sort of bits and pieces. So, for example, the one I'm looking at here, somebody could buy you Cirque du Soleil tickets, or they could buy you the Wild Africa Trek, or Dolphins in Depth, or you could do a speciality cruise. So they do offer opportunities that you can participate in, and I would guess, like with any normal honeymoon registry, you can choose what it is that you want to do. You can choose, you know, what you want to put on that list, and if it's something you want to consider as an option for people, you know, let's say you're an older couple, you've got your own house, you've got most of the stuff that you would normally get for a honeymoon, then you could think about doing it in a slightly different way, like, you know, getting people to pay towards an experience or something like that while you're out on honeymoon. So it might be worth looking at that as a possibility as well.
And I presume, obviously, going through that site gives you, once again, the cast members know, oh, it's definitely a honeymoon going through that site.
Ah, yes, and you can. Disney Honeymoon Registry is available to those outside of the US. And you pay via PayPal account, so you send the money and it does a currency conversion for you, so you don't even need to worry about it. So there we go, it does, you can do it. So yeah, it's Honeymoon Wishes who do it, and you can go over to disney.honeymoonwishes.com/registry, and when you go on there, you can go in, and there's all sorts of different options that you can try out and you can have a go at, which is really, really cool. It does it for Disney World, does it for Disneyland Resort, it does it for cruise line.
Cruise line.
Yeah, everything. So that's really good. Sorry, Gareth, you were going to say something?
I've got one. I was trying to get in before, because I feel like it's going to get stolen. So everyone likes boat rides.
Yes.
Boat rides make everything better. So if you head to Disney Springs, and where the boathouse is located, next to that there's a store called the Ship Store.
Yeah.
And it's a two for one, really.
Store?
So from there you can hire the Lady Rose, which is a two-person steamboat. For the price of $160, you get use of the steamboat, I presume, for an hour.
Yeah.
I couldn't find out. And you also get chocolate strawberries and champagne. I'll post the photo up on Twitter and Facebook because I think the boat is really, really good looking. Just like a really good fun thing to do.
What happens if you are there as a 4?
As a 4,
Do you have to take it
there's a
turns?
roof. There's a roof. There are handles on the side, so you could probably dangle in the water if that's what you want to do.
Kid swap thing going on. Facility.
Yeah.
It's also got a periscope as well, which I don't think should be overlooked.
What's the name of the boat again? Sorry.
Lady Rose.
Lady Rose. Okay, that's cool.
A telescope, not a periscope. Periscope would be for a submarine.
Fair enough. Okay, so that sounds
Oh
very
yeah,
cool.
it looks really good.
Yeah, it's the same place that you get the amphibicars from.
Yes. So it's run by I forgot what the name of the company is now. It's the same people who own Rainforest Cafe and all those bits and pieces, isn't it? Yes.
Yep.
They're the ones. That looks really cool, yeah. I like the look of that. Maybe we should give that a go. I want to give that a go now. That looks cool.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a bad price though at all.
Do you know what? For a honeymoon, you're doing something a little bit different. Then I think it's actually it's not a bad price at all, is it?
Yeah. I think you pay like 40 quid for a gondola, don't you?
It's about that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like the look of that. Okay, anybody else got anything else that we can add?
Yeah,
to
go
the
to Trader Sam's and get rotten drunk.
That was one of mine.
It's your honeymoon. Go to Trader Sam's and just go off.
Get carried home.
That was my list.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, you can't have your friends and family on your honeymoon, because that's a bit weird, unless you're Gareth and you're taking your 4 people with you. But yeah, go to Trader Sam's, make some new friends, get them to buy you drinks. It's your honeymoon.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then go watch the fireworks on the Polynesian beach.
Yeah, that would be a really lovely evening. Go and have drinks at Trader Sam's and then watch the fireworks from the beach. Would be an awesome
and Trader
night.
Sam's is actually a lot of fun. It's so much fun, Trader Sam's.
See, I'm looking at the Lady Rose here, and I'm fairly convinced you can fit 4 people on that.
Well, maybe you can, but it's sold as a romantic cruise for 2.
Okay, that's fair enough.
So like I say, alternative lifestyles.
The other thing I was thinking about was along the line of Trader Sam's, but it's having a drink around World Showcase and not going full at it, but
Not going full John style.
Not going full John style, no. We're going for a nice margarita and sitting down and enjoying the view in Mexico and moving round and trying the different drinks and things like that as you go for a nice stroll around World Showcase, those sort of things as well. It's that there are so many things. We haven't even talked about tours that you can go and take if you fancy that, or if you want to go and do like I mentioned Wild Africa Trek, but if you want to go and do some sort of tour or something a bit different, so seeing Disney from another point of view, depending on how big of a Disney fan you both are, you've got the Keys to the Kingdom, you've got the Backstage Magic Tour, you've got all those sort of things that you could also
or just something like doing Cinderella's Royal Table.
Yeah,
I mean,
really
alright, yes,
nice.
Disney
I was gonna add
princesses
this
might
one.
not necessarily be your thing, or your husband's thing, or your wife's thing. But it's just nice to go and have your dinner in the castle. There's something so special about it.
Yeah, I agree. We did that on our honeymoon. We went there on the night. We had our honeymoon a few months after our wedding, and it was the night of one of the Halloween parties. So the Magic Kingdom closed early, and we got the latest reservation we could get. It was at like 5 to 7 or something. So by the time we finished our meal, the park was closed and the party was in full swing, and they started to escort us like out of the park because we didn't have tickets that night, but we actually managed to watch the Boo to You parade as we were leaving the park, because we just kind of like really took our time as we were leaving. They kind of left us at the end of Main Street, so they didn't actually take us all the way out of the park, and it was so lovely. And it can be a bit awkward talking to the face characters sometimes and talking to princesses, but actually they're really good. And when you're wearing the badges and they know it's your honeymoon, they really do make a fuss and they make it easy to talk to them because you've got something to talk about immediately. So I would really recommend Cinderella's Royal Table on a honeymoon specifically, because it's such a pretty place to eat. The food's not the best in the world, but it's a gorgeous restaurant.
Linking to that, things like the dessert parties as well are something that could be a little bit different and really nice.
Yeah, the one I would add to that is you can do afternoon tea at the Grand Floridian
Yes.
as well, which I think would be a really nice way to spend a couple of hours on a honeymoon. It's something a little bit different that you wouldn't normally do.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit less pressure because there's no characters coming around.
The other thing I mentioned is something I've used before as well, is that Disney have the Disney Floral and Gifts department, which is available if you're staying in a Disney hotel.
Yes,
and what you can
me
have
too.
done is you can have all sorts of things sent to your room. You can go to, they've kind of got like a custom gift builder, which you can go on and you can add whatever you want to it, anything from soft toys to ears to popcorn to bags to all sorts of things that you can have thrown in. You name it, they've kind of got it on this list. But also, you can go for something really simple. You can go on there and they have a shop by occasion sign, and you can look at the pre-made packages they've got. So for $375, they've got something called a Wish Come True, which is a 2-day romantic experience, is what they call it in total. And the experience, just to read what it says here. So, create a truly Disney romantic in-room experience with this 2-day wishes come true. The romance begins on the first day with the delivery of a Disney dozen red rose bouquet, a classic presentation of long-stem red roses, and then the experience continues the next day when she opens the door to your resort room and discovers scattered silk rose petals illuminated by the soft glow of candles, a large gift box wrapped in a ribbon, with Swarovski crystal and silver-plated bracelets as well, and you get champagne and little chocolates. They have a signature bottle of Wishes sparkling juice and a Cinderella chocolate castle that can be included as well. So little things like that Disney already do. And if you don't want to go for that classic romantic, you can also go for things like there's one called From Mickey and Minnie with Love, which is a kind of a pamper set, and it comes with Disney towels with your names embroidered on them, and it's got a spa basket and all sorts of bits and pieces there as well, which is really, really nice. It's something that's a little bit different. So Disney do those sort of options as well. Obviously they cost you money. They're not cheap at all. Just for a simple floral bouquet, it's pretty expensive, but the effect it has, the reaction from that person who doesn't realise they're having them is worth the cost. So it's really, really nice to have something a little bit different. And also it comes with a really nice vase usually, but be aware, it's very difficult to get a vase home in your suitcase without it still being in one piece by the time you're finished. But there's loads
Are
of really
you
cool stuff.
speaking from experience?
Yes, speaking from experience.
Yeah.
But they've got all sorts of theme stuff there, themed around certain characters, princesses, Mickey, the whole lot, which is really, really nice and just something a little bit different to do as well. So there you go, something that's worth looking at. Anybody else got any other suggestions for honeymoons? Oh, there is one thing we haven't mentioned actually. Spas.
I've got a couple more as well. Oh yeah, spa.
We haven't
That's
mentioned
true.
spas at all. Going and enjoying one of the spas that they have over in the resorts. The Senses Spa, the Mandara. Is it the Mandara? Is that what they say? Is it the other one? I think that they have in the resorts that you can go over and enjoy. The Mandara, I think, is in the. Is that the Swan or the Dolphin? And then the Senses Spas are the ones that you get in the in your Disney resorts. And there's one at the Grand Floridian. Saratoga Springs got one, and
Yeah.
there's one somewhere else, and I forget where it is off the top of my head. I will find it out. But they're worth going. You can do some couple stuff there as well. It's really nice to enjoy and relax and settle in with something like that. Sorry, you were going to say something, Katie?
I have two other ones. One's a kind of thing to do, place to go, and one's a kind of thing to buy, I guess.
Yeah.
So the one that I was going to suggest, which is a kind of place to go, is jelly rolls at the boardwalk.
It's on my list.
I think if you want to have just like a really fun night out, that's a really good place that you can go dancing, and they have kind of dueling pianos, which is really quite fun, and that's just like a really good night out. And so you could go for a nice meal somewhere like Flying Fish maybe along the boardwalk, and then go to Jelly Rolls and just have a great old time dancing and
you've
having
also
a great time.
got the Atlantic Dance Hall down there as well, and they do some bits and pieces there, so you can always head over to the Atlantic Dance Hall and take part in some of the dancing that's going over there, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think that's a really fun night out. My other thing is a thing to possibly buy is in the Japan Pavilion at Epcot, you can pick a pearl. where they've got oysters.
Oh, that's a good shout.
It's a nice shout.
And
That's
you
really
can
nice.
choose for an oyster, and they'll open it in front of you, and then you get to keep the pearl. It's about $15-16, something like that. It might be a little bit more than that now. And you can buy kind of cages to put the pearl in that make it into a necklace or a bracelet, or but you can buy those much cheaper online than they are in that Japan pavilion. So it could be a really nice way to do a little surprise, maybe if you bought one of the cages, one of the necklaces or something beforehand, and then you could do the pick a pearl and then surprise your bride with a ready-made necklace to put the pearl in, and it's just a nice little memento that you would always know you got that on your honeymoon.
Those sort of little mementos are always quite nice. The another memento you can do, and something I've done, it's kind of become a bit of a tradition of going to Disney World, of getting a Christmas bauble to hang on the Christmas tree and get it specially customized for the year that you've gone, so you could always use it and get a Christmas bauble done and get it decorated with the date you were there, the year that you got married that particular year, and then it hangs on your Christmas tree every year, and it's just a memory of where you were for your honeymoon, which is really cool. And they're not particularly expensive to get done. You go to Disney Springs and go to 12 Days of Christmas store, and they'll do those for you. Usually you find they're not done straight away. They also do them in the Magic Kingdom over at the Christmas shop in Liberty Square. But they'll do them for you, and they'll have them delivered to your room, so you haven't got to wait for them. Just make sure you get them done maybe a couple of days before your trip ends, so you make sure you've got them to pick up and take home with you. Anything else from anybody?
I think that's exhausted my list of top
I've got
recommendations.
nothing
You guys have obviously got a bit more experience.
Yeah.
We're just kind of shooting fish in the dark.
I think it's a lovely place to go on your honeymoon, and you'll have a great time no matter which of these things, if any of these things, you choose to do. And you will get spoiled rotten.
Yeah, you will. Absolutely, you will. 100% spoiled rotten. But it's well worth doing it, you know. And if you've considered doing it and you have second thoughts, you know, you're not quite sure, you want to ask some questions, send us a message. We're quite happy to answer questions and things from people with regards to how those things work, and quite happy to kind of point you in the right direction if needs be. But I think that's it for today. That kind of rounds up our kind of Disney honeymoon proposal, romantic, nice on a sunny day episode. Except for John, who's obviously not in a sunny day. He's currently sadly stuck in
It's
miserable
not been
Spain.
the worst. It's just not been. It's been hot. It's just not been sunny.
We do have to remember that John is on holiday though, and has been on holiday while we've all been at work. So you know, I think he probably wins in the long run, if we're honest. Anyway, thank you for joining us as always. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
I was hoping to get something Spanish then.
Oh, ¿qué tal?
Surely you should be the one. Surely you should be the one going. Por
Not
fa-
adios.
He should be the one going. Por
Buenos
favor,
días.
por favor, manténgase alejado de las puertas.
Oh no, yeah.
That's what it should be doing.
Sentados, por favor.
That's the one. Por favor, manténgase alejado de las escalator. Anyway, so thank you, Gareth.
You're welcome.
He's currently contemplating and sitting there and thinking about what an awful husband he was because Claire didn't get any of this. Thank you, Susan. But he is contemplating going back for a second honeymoon and taking 2 friends with him. Thank you, Susan.
Oh, you're welcome.
Just got that image in my head now. Thank you, Key.
You are welcome.
And we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. But if you've got any comments, questions, suggestions, anything at all, either related to honeymoons or proposals, or if it's anything to do with anything at all, you know, even I think we've done surprises for kids on the shows before now, where we've told them on the show that they're off to Disney World or anything like that. You want us to do anything to do with some sort of celebration, then do contact us, radio@disneybrit.com. You can also contact us over on facebook.com/Disneybrit podcast. You can send us a tweet at Disneybrit, or you can say hello over on Instagram, which is at Disneybrit as well.
Speaking of which, we had a message, didn't we, the other week from someone on, is it Rachel?
Yes, we did. Yes.
She's a fellow Disney nerd.
She is fellow Disney nerd.
She has been 11 times to Disneyland Paris, and she's worked there twice.
Yes.
And she's going to fan days, and she was asking about
meeting up
with us
and
at fan days.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The more the merrier.
We shall sort that out and we can say hello. I know there's a lot of people thinking of going out for a drink on the Friday, is that right?
This is correct.
But we'll let people
Friday
know
night.
more about that and what's
Bob's.
going on. So it'll all be good at Billy Bob's, so that's cool. But we'll be back in 2 weeks' time with another new topic, and we'll be live on YouTube as we have been tonight, and we'll be downloading on iTunes, on Podbean, on all those different things. But we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. Until then, have a lovely couple of weeks. See ya. Thank you, Alternative Lifestyle.
Thank you.
My friend.